Hello, welcome to Smartboard 101. I'm your host, Robert Rocha. I'm an instructional technology specialist with the El Paso Independent School District. Today, our show is going to focus on how to use a smart video player. Today, a lot of students, or a lot of teachers actually, are using video for instruction. They download videos from either YouTube or United Streaming, and they present them to their students. However, as they're watching these videos, students are not as taking full advantage of watching the videos. They're not being an interactive part of the actual movie itself, or the video itself. And so Smart has created a product called the Smart Video Player that kind of takes care of that. It allows you to interact with the actual video. So let's go and take a look and see how this video player works. So as I go back to my computer screen, I'm going to go to my Smart icon, which again is going to be the blue square with the white circle. And I'm going to use my actual mouse over here to do that, because sometimes my smartboard that I have is a little finicky. So I'm going to click on my smartboard tool. And if I look at the very top, the third one down says Video Player. I'm going to click on the Smart Video Player there. And when I do, I get this screen here. Now, on this video player, it's kind of like Windows Media Player, but in the sense that it's different in the way that it allows you to go ahead and to pause your video and actually interact. You can actually write on the video and take snapshots of the still picture that you have of your video. So let's go and take a look and see how the basic setup of this feature works. Right now, if I look at the very top of my screen, I have, of course, my basic file menu that I have here: File, Hardware, View, Settings, and Help. And of course, this is the area that my actual white area where my video is going to be playing at. And below that, of course, I have my toolbars, where of course I have my pause, my stop buttons, my screen capture, my pens, and so forth down here at the very bottom, and my volume controls. On the right-hand side of my screen, if I focus on my right-hand side of my screen, there's another window that says Playlist. That's going to be a very key feature when we're using the Smart Video Player. Now, if I want to add a video, let's say I want to go ahead and find a video that I want to play, there's two areas that I can do that at. Either one, I can always go to my File menu, and when I click on File menu, I can go to Open, and I can open for my file and say, okay, I'm looking here. I know the video that I want is on my desktop, so I click on Desktop, and there's my Egyptian mummies, and I click on Open. And notice now, once I do that, it starts to play the video here. I'm going to go and pause that just for a second. Now, if you look back on my right-hand side of my screen, under Playlist, it has my playlist that I have for the actual video that I'm doing. Now, if I wanted to, sorry, I didn't pause my video. Let me try that one more time. If I wanted to add another video to this list, I can always go back again to that playlist and go to the drop-down menu, and I can go to Add. And I can go and find where that other movie I want to add. So let's say I want to go back to my documents, and I go to my downloads. I have another video here, and I can go to Open, and I can play my video there. I can add my video in that little segment right there. So once my first video plays, it'll automatically play my second video that's going to be there. Now, before we actually start playing the video and showing you more about the interactivity to it, we want to set up some basic settings within Smart Notebook or in the video player. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go back to my menu bar, and I'm going to go to Settings. So I'm going to click on Settings here, and I'm going to go to Video Player Settings. And when I click on Video Player Settings, I'm going to get this pop-up window. And what I want to have checked off is Pause when tool is lifted. So when your pen on your pen trays are lifted, it'll pause the actual video itself. And that's going to be very important because we want to be able to pick up a pen, pause it, and talk to our students to make some notes about that particular scene. So once I have that selected, the next item I want selected there is going to be my fade out notes. Now here, so that way as you're marking up your particular document, after about maybe what I chose here is 4 seconds, after 4 seconds it's going to go ahead and fade the notes out. And so that way you can continue on watching your video, and it's being a little more seamless to your audience or to your actual students that you're using. And then here, Continue, I'm going to go and choose 1 second for continue after 1 second. That way the video will continue to play after the notes fade out. And I'm going to click OK. But you may, as you're teaching, you may play with those settings to see what's convenient to you. how long you want those notes to fade out. Maybe you want them to stay for 30 seconds. Perhaps you don't want them to be sooner. It depends on how your teaching style is, on how you choose the begin to fade out notes. But for today's show, I'm going to do 4 and 1, and I'm going to click OK. Okay. So once I have that set up, I'm now ready to watch my movie. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the play button, which is the bottom left-hand side of my screen, and I can click on play. And notice now that my video is playing, but it's not a full-size video. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go to my full-size screen button, which is going to be down over here. It's the last set of buttons, and it's got a picture of a blue square, a white middle part, and a little arrow going to the upper right-hand corner. That's my full screen mode. And so now I'm in full screen for my students. Not the best picture there of what I'm showing up here, but that's kind of funny there. But I also got a video player toolbar I can pick up and move. Try to get that to move for us. And my smartboard's been a little finicky today, so I'm going to go and try this again. And notice I got this floating toolbar that's right here. And in my floating toolbar, I have some different options. Of course, I got my play and my pause button. I have my screen capture button, which will screen capture in a smart notebook. I have, of course, my cursor pen, a different highlighting pen that I can go and use, and of course my delete pen, and go back to minimize my screen. Now, as we're watching this particular video here of this particular mummy, if I wanted to go and take notes of this particular scene, what I can go ahead and do is pick up my pen, and on a regular 600 series smartboard, as soon as you pick up the pen, it's going to go ahead and pause. On my smart screen that I have here, so it works a little bit differently. As soon as I touch my screen, it's going to go ahead and pause, and I can go and take notes on my particular screen that I have here. Now, after about 4 seconds, that's going to go ahead and fade out. There it goes, and it faded. And if I just tap my screen real quickly, it'll continue on the actual video itself. And so you get a little bit of seamless interaction with your students. So let's say as you're doing your notes, you're talking and you're writing your notes here and so forth, you're circling, and you wanted to make the kids responsible for that particular scene. You wanted to refer back to it later on during your instructional day or during your particular area that you're covering. You could always hit the screen capture button. So let me do that one more time. I'm going to go and circle that one more time here. And I'm going to screen capture that. And let me try that one more time. My smartboard is being a little finicky today, and this won't happen to you in your classroom. There it goes. It's saving to Ink Notes. It's going to open up my Smart Notebook file, and there I have right there. I've got a copy of that particular screen image with my notes that I created, and so I can always simply minimize that screen, and I can continue back on my video that I'm showing right here. Okay. Now, if I want to go back to my regular screen, I'll just go ahead and click on my minimize screen here. I go back to where I was, and I can go and stop my video. Now, what's really neat about this, though, is I wanted to add this video into Smart Notebook and play it with my Smart Video Player. I want to be able to say that as an attachment. So on my playlist here, I'm going to go Save Playlist. I'm going to give my playlist a name, call this Mummies. And I click on Save. And when I close my screen up here, notice now I have a playlist, and I didn't do it, so let me try that one more time. Let's say that playlist one more time. And the problem is I saved it to the wrong place. Let me go to my desktop, call that Mummies. Click on Save. And so now when I close this window up, I have my Mummies video playlist here. So when I open up Smart Notebook, I can go to my Attachments tab. I can insert that playlist. It's going to come up Mummies. Click Open. And so now if I wanted to play that within my Smart Notebook, and I can play that video within Smart Notebook, and the Smart Video Player will open up instead of using the Windows default media. Well, I hope you enjoyed using their Smart Video Player. I hope you use it in your classroom. This pretty much wraps it up for our show today. Goodbye.